Said Daga, I appreciate you showing that, man. Really like it. All right. We just started recording, so Daga just showed his profits 82.91%. He said he closed too early. Oh man, I know, but still, that's profits. Profits are profits, right? So let's take a look at what happened from yesterday to today. I mean, of course, we already know that it has been going upwards, but how can we maybe be preparing for this weekend? So let's get started here, and I want to go back to Bitcoin, right? Let me take a look at YouTube very quickly. Let me show you a couple of stuff before we move on. That was on Piper Academy. Inside the Piper Academy, I want to take a look at the recap. Was from yesterday. Perfect. And I want to show you what we were talking about. All right. So if you're not following the Zero to Hero series, this is in the Piper Academy show, and we're using free and paid indicators from ChartPrime to do our analysis. Also, non-chart prime indicators, free non-chart prime indicators we are also using just for a point of reference, and also based on what I used to do before I used chart prime. All right. So we were talking about this broadening wedge at the top. First, creating maybe a triangle, but if we broke the triangle and we measured the pattern breakout, because remember, when you have a symmetrical triangle, you have kind of like a 50-50 chances, right? At least that's what the literature tells you, right? When we have an uprising wedge, you have, what is it, a 45% chances, right? And so on and so forth. But I have my own methodology to understand or start predicting where to, or how is it that pattern going to be breaking out. So what time is the Trading with OC class? It is my time. It is 6 p.m. 6 to 7 p.m. Let me pass it over to you. It is right now for me. It is 9:09. So just make the math. It is 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 9 hours from now. 9 hours from now. So here it is. I won 6 out of 8 of 8 day trades. Oh, nice! This week. All right, I perfect. That's amazing. 4 out of 6. Sorry, 4 out of 5 days. I won 6 out of 8 day trades in this week. That is fantastic. 4 out of 5 days. That is awesome. No big wins, but happy to be hanging in there. Don't worry, credit for my soul. You're gonna get there, and this is part of the, let's just call it this series, right? Because it seems like a series, a TV show, because it is just a roller coaster of emotions. But let me tell you that you are on the right track. So keep pushing there, and remember, use stop loss risk management, right? That is what's gonna get you the big wins. I promise you. Got it. Sounds like 9 p.m. EST. Thank you. My pleasure, my friend. My pleasure. All right. So basically, this is what we were going. By the way, we have a whole series. It's gonna be like 20 chapters, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm gonna be dividing it in 10 chapter sections, if that makes sense. All right. Why is that? I want to go over everything and have some master classes. We're going to be inviting Piper, and also we're going to be inviting Alexa Crypto for them to talk about their own indicators and also how they use chart prime in their hands, right? But starting from zero, no indicators, nothing, and then building up to those indicators and that knowledge. We're pretty much almost half of the way. This was chapter 9. All right, so Monday it's going to be chapter 10, and that's going to be the end of the first setup there. We also have the recap. For example, this one was the recap. So whenever you see something like that, it means that we're going to be just applying the knowledge. So it's not just a class, it is a trade hunter class, just so you know. All right, the important thing here is that we were looking for a possible breakout in the 15 minutes, all right? Breakout, the median. Why? Because we were at the top, all right? We have some bearish divergence here. Let me make it bigger. There we go. We have some bearish divergence on our pro oscillator, right? We have some order block, overbought, and then also we have a reversal. So everything was pointing at a possible reversal, right? So what would that reversal be like? Not only to the trend line, I would say that this needed a further reversal, especially because of the amount of confluence. And we didn't only had this bearish divergence. If you look closely here, we had a triple bearish divergence and plus another bearish divergence, right? So it was full pack. This was an easy trade. Everything pointing out at going downward, right? Big important part here, guys, and I want to take the time today to explain stuff because we're on Friday, all right? And I want you guys to make money, but I better want you guys not to lose money, all right? And that's what I'm gonna be talking about, a couple of caveats here. When we see that much confluence, we also need to figure out whether we're bullish or bearish. At this point, we were bullish because we were above not only dynamic reactor, we also have something that I call the SMA combo, all right? If you guys are here, don't worry about the SMA combo because you have dynamic reactor, right? That's top of the line. The SMA combo, it's a substitution for the dynamic reactor. It's not equal, it's not exactly the same, but it overall reacts at the same zones, all right? They have a little bit of a buffering zone in there. If you want to learn about it, go watch it. But hey, morning, little fish. Welcome, my friend. Welcome. Other than that, so we're bullish, but we have a bearish divergence. What would that mean? It means maybe breaking inner structure. What is the inner structure? This bullish inner structure, right? That's why we have a trend line right there. So also I want you guys to notice that we are blue from green, or green to blue, or aqua, or turquoise to blue, or whatever color you want to call that. So you have no sound. Does anyone have any suggestion on the problem? Yes. Check out your Discord output. What is it? Output device. It works here. The bottom left, there is a gear icon. Click it and find sound tab, and then the output, change it. So there we go. That's as much as we're gonna go over that, so we can continue with the class. We'll see if he has any other updates. All right. So we have a retracement or a possible breakout, right? So why is not a breakout retest after we go? Because we're bullish and we already know that we're into a pattern, right? Also, we are above the zero line. Something important, I want you guys to notice these blocks, these purple blocks. Let's go back in here and let me show you how I made them. Like that. All right, let me mute this. And you see at this point that I'm measuring the time or the timing from where the ribbon is spending above and below the zero line, right? After I already have measured them, I just pack them together. You see that? It's not about the height, but it's about the time, the length, right? The left to right session. So right here, you can see that being at the top, it takes more time, which means it's hovering above the zero line more than it's hovering below, which means we have some momentum pressure to the upside, all right? So what does that mean? It means that we have a loaded dice. What does that mean again? It means that despite whatever this pattern is telling you that there's a higher chance, for example, this one you could be measuring as a range, 50-50, slightly downwards to the right range, right? Or maybe a megaphone, all right? Or whatever you want to call it. So then you go to your book and you said, all right, 40% to break into the upside, right? Or 55% break into the upside, all right? But right here, you can see that there is a huge difference between staying above and staying below, which means that we have a much better opportunity to break above, right? Up to the top. So what happened? All right, now that we have already looked at this, what happened? Let's go and look at, all right, BTC. All right, let's see. It was on here. 1 second. There we go. So did we hit the support? Oh yeah, we did, but it actually moved on us a little bit. In fact, if I turned off mostly everything, here we go. Look at that going to the median. But how could you predict? Look at that AOC, man. It did not went all the way to immediate. And it was just a little bit. But you're right. But you're right. But you're right. So how do you fix this, right? That's what we have the indicators for, right? In this case, let's turn on our dynamic reactor, right? Look at your SMA combo, by the way. And look at your dynamic reactor. You see how they diverge, but then when it's important, they converge, right? So if you were wondering, this is the SMA. You can go watch, you'll come back and watch the recording if you want the settings. Here it is. I'm just gonna give you just kind of like 10 seconds to snip it, right? It's just a basic SMA, length 110, close 0, and then the smoothing of the SMA is 20 and 2. That's it. That's everything. Hey JR, welcome. All right, that's gonna be it. So in case you don't have or you don't want to use your dynamic reactor, which by the way, I advise to use dynamic reactor, is much more precise, all right? You can use your SMA combo, but whatever. The point is, look at that. Where did we went to? Dynamic reactor. All right, maybe you were not looking at it. So just turn on your support resistance. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Where is your support? Look at your highly ginormous bullish, right? Bullish 97.14% bullish entry zone. And don't tell me that this wasn't easy. Don't tell me that this was not a called out, man. All right, let's just say it wasn't, right? For any reason, it wasn't, right? So don't worry. Remember, it's not about the breakout, it's about the retest, but we have a weighted break to the upside. So once again, we just give it some time. It's not about your breakout. It's about your retest. Look at that, right? Since we were expecting farther right, since this is a trend line, all right? Oh, like that. Well, then the farther right that we go, the lower that we go. Does that make sense? Since we were expecting something around here, well, that's why we aim there. But since it happened before, that's why it goes higher. So it's not about the breakout, it's about your retest. I drill your ears with that every single day, and off you go to the upside, all right? So whatever you did, you got it easy, all right? Easy with indicators. Another tip, I've recently have fallen in love of this indicator once again, all right? It's one of my favorites. But since I don't usually trade with free indicators, not in this class, but since we started trading with OC, I am doing free indicators. Man, your linear regression oscillator is just fire. This is a free indicator, all right? But I want you to notice that there has two things that it really impressed me. By the way, let me first show you something here, which is this one there, all right? All right, does that look like the same? Very close, not the same, very close, all right? Very close. So just so you know, before even ChartPrime existed, this was my setup, all right? It was a squeeze momentum indicator with DMI, ADX, and key level. From all of these, I'm just using, at this point, a ADX and key level. That's it. Why? Because the ADX, which is a white line, it is showing me strength. What am I showing you this? Because if I grab it and push it here, ta-da, I have a much more powerful, look at my zero line, I just need to, there we go, push it in there. So this down here is telling me, just like above here, trend is bullish to the upside. And then trend is bullish to the downside. So we're losing the bullishness. So for example, let me give you an example of that so we can learn a little bit how to read this both, all right? If you have, and let's do it one single thing. So right here, let's just do it with this one, all right? If I could, I would kind of like do the same thing to those, but that's fine. The point is, right here, this is a bullish trend from here to here. Then we continued another bullish trend within a bullish trend, but let's just talk about this one, all right? So as long as we are bright green, this is going up, all right? When we turn back down, we're still bullish, but means that we are on a retracement, right? As you can see, we went back on green. That means putting up a higher low, all right? And then, but what happens when we break to the other side? Usually we are losing, usually when that happens, we lose a trend line. When this happens, let's just say that happened, all right, right here, well then we are losing a trend line, all right? Just so you know. So we divide those mountains in two. In bullish to the upside and bullish retraction, all right, or bullish pullback. The same thing is going to be applying into the free oscillator right here, which is the linear regression oscillator. The only difference is how we measure it. We just give you a triangle, a star, a diamond. That is to show you when we're tipping, all right? So instead of changing color, we just give you a triangle, and we use another color code. So let me show you something so it makes a little bit more sense, all right? In this case, let's go for a peak performance one. Let me just hide everything. All right. Right here on in this segment, where we were the most bullish. The most bullish was at the top because we didn't know what's coming, all right? So the most bullish is at the top. You're not changing from bullish to bearish at the top. You are changing from bullish to bearish when you lose the trend line. So where's the trend line? If we draw a trend line somewhere around here, right? So let me just go here and show you. All right. So right here you have, instead of bullish bearish, all right, or bullish less bullish, we have a peak performance. Once you have your peak performance, you start going downwards. It's just like your fuel. All right, so you're exchanging fuel for potential energy. Your peak performance is at the top of your potential energy, where you have the less fuel and then more potential energy. So it's just like a rocket. You go up, you lose out of fuel, you run out of fuel, you're at your peak performance, and then you go down, right? So that's what this color is showing you. That's why it's a little bit different. Just so it clicks with what you're saying one to another, all right? So then why did I add this one here? This is the ADX, all right? This one measures strength. So if I use it above in here, just the white line, all right? Just the white line. Just the white line, right? Pointing upwards, we do have strength. Pointing downwards, we don't have strength, regardless if you are bullish or bearish, regardless, all right? So, for example, if we are bearish and we're pointing up, right, we have strength on the bearishness. So, farther move to the downside. If we point down, we don't have strength, and we don't have strength on a bearishness. What happens? Not strength on bearish. So strength on bearish, going fast downwards. Not strength on bearish, pulling up, because we're not strong on the bearish side, right? So I just want to make that clear, because this is kind of like a short circuit, right? It was a short circuit when I learned it, but it was a great tool, all right? So pointing downwards, not strength. And if we're bearish, not strength in a bearish trend, which means bull or bearish pullback. What is that? We pull up but not changing of trend, just a bearish pull up. Does that make sense? So that is usually a, it's going to be something like this. All right, so look at that. All right, pointing downwards in a bearish trend, right? What happens? Pointing downwards, pull up. Was that a change of trend? No, it just was what? A bounce. All right, perfect. Now that we understand the ADX, right? Now we can use it all together with either the squeeze momentum or our linear regression, whichever you like. Log in, we are in the charts, research TV, nothing helped. What happened, Dagat? Any had problems with the Market Dynamics Pro? I turned the VWAP and it does not show. Which one is it? 338. Let me see. 338. I also have it. Dynamics Pro. Let me try it. Might be that you had a bug, my friend. Let me hide all of my mess. Let's go over this one. Let's go to another one so we can maybe clearly see it. All right, maybe in this one. And then you're adding Market Dynamics Pro with VWAP, right? It was working. Give it a set. Oh, it's not showing. Do we need to have the volume profile maybe? I think it's volume. Yeah, you need to turn on your volume profile, my friend. The volume profile needs to be on because it's a subdivision of the VWAP. No, sorry. I was credit for myself. I'm resolving the issue, the bug that Daga DT had. So he's saying, I'm trying to use the show VWAP, right? So he wants to see the VWAP right here. But if I click it and I give it 1 second for it to populate, it doesn't appear, right? This is apart from the strategy that we were learning right now. This is completely apart. So what's going on? What is it not appearing? If you take a look at, that's what I mean trying to help. Oh, got it. Sorry, my friend. Sorry. So yeah, just to wrap it up, since it's a subdivision, you need to turn on the subdivision in order to be able to see it. So that was it. But yeah, all right. So let's just wrap it up and let's go to the end of the class, or at least look hunts for some trades. All right. So all right. So what happens in here? We are in a bullish trend with strength in here. All right. What happens when we have the opposite? For example, if we're going downwards and we have strength, we go up because we're bullish, right? We just are losing the bullishness, but we still have some momentum, right? So we go up slightly, not like this. Look at that. In this case, bright green and pointing up, boom, shakalaka. The sky is the limit, right? When you have darker green and, and that's not a good example. This one is darker green right here, but still go up. You go up slowly, right? Same thing happened here. So that's why be my guest and use it however you want. Let's throw in here. We're going to be using the same thing. So strength, right? And then what? Either you're bullish or bearish. So remember, instead of changing color, we have peak performance and then zero line breakouts, right? Or yes, zero line breakouts. So let me show you what I really intended to show you at the beginning of the class. Let me just close this one up. There we go. I want to show you where did we have our peak change here. Where did we change from bullish to bearish? Right here. From bearish to bullish. When did we change? Look at this one. How precise is it? I mean, this is going to be up here a lot, but if we draw a trend line, right, or a trend line like that, look at how precise change it. Breaking the zero line. It's not about the breakout, it's about the retest. Off you go. All the way till here. We lost the trend line, right? And then when we put a higher high, we broke back again. Look at that breakout, and off we go. So this is an amazing oscillator. It colorizes your candles. I just want to show you that. All right, perfect. So up or down, OC? Up. I think we're going to go up, but we also need a little bit of a retracement in here. So be careful with this retracement. Might be the one that you're looking for a possible re-entry. This is the weekend, so we need to be a little bit careful. Let me just save this and let's change it to what we are used to, Chartpan Plus in here. And then let's go to, oh, not trading with OC, following one. All right, let's take a look at Bitcoin. 15 minutes, and we have one of my favorite tools also here, the Gauss trend crossing. All right, this is a parabolic movement, so that's why we use the Gauss trend crossing. We can find a parabola, and then on that parabola we look at the tangent. What is the tangent? It's going to be a trend line based on the parabolic movement. All right, why is that good? Look at how it performed before. When we lose the trend line, the parabolic trend line, look at that. We also have a bearish trend, right? Boom, lost it. And also we pair it together with the ribbon, with losing the zero line with the ribbon here. Does that make sense? All right, same thing is gonna be here. It's gonna be happening here. I know it's a little messy. Let me see if I can clear this up. I think that's gonna be much better. All right, so what do we have in here? We have a possible reversal in here. Our power bar is going a little bit shorter of power, right? We have a bearish divergence, and we have a flip of the ribbon. The only thing that we would need, it is a loss of money flow, all right? So that means that we're gonna have the same thing that happened before, the same thing that happened here on the broadening wedge, right? So we're losing bullishness. So means that we're going to be losing the trend line. It's not about the breakout, it's about a retest and possibly going to meaningful highs. What is your meaningful lows? Previous resistance becomes new support. Do we have a trend line or a support and resistance? Yes, look at that. Nailed it, right? To this area. So look for your possible next entry somewhere around here or somewhere around here, depending on where you see the flip of the ribbon. If the flip of the ribbon happens there, you take it there. If you see that you're losing your zero line, hold it until you are on the next support, you're having the next flip of the ribbon like in here. All right, I mean, I could be wrong, and this could go something like that, and then we can go something like here, and that's where we could be having our flip of the ribbon at the very bottom. All right, so just be careful out there with this one. Let's go and take a look at a couple of altcoins because I think it's been blowing. In fact, by the way, gold, we are the neckline here. Dangerous entry. I'm waiting for the flip of the ribbon. That's going to be my next possible entry, somewhere around 3,222, right? What else do we have? Sui doing fantastic. We already have gone through this in the morning market report. Still, we could be having a rounded top or symmetrical triangle. What's going to define this? It's going to be this flip of the ribbon. As you can see, I'm aiming for a bearish flip of the ribbon, but higher. Seems like right now it is going a little bit lower than I expected it. If we start breaking the trend line, I think it's not about the breakout, it's about the retest, and off we go. We already have it marked out here. All right, you see that? So basically, but it's happening a little bit faster. So be careful because we could be on the breakout, retest off we go to find dynamic reactor. All right, that is for SUI on the 15 minutes. Let's go and take a look at now the crypto bubbles. Here is daily, and everything is in green. Look at that, WIF, Floki. Can I trade that? Bitcoin SV, not touching that. Jasmy, yeah, Jasmy could be. And we were talking about Jasmy just yesterday. Let's take a look at Jasmy. All right, Jasmy having some absorption zones at the top. This is not good, all right? Volatility, not good. Absorption zone at the top. This is the 15 minutes. We want to see, look at that, the parabolic trend line being broken. And if we broke it, breakout retest, our next possible entry for a long in here. But for the short, breakout retest short all the way down there. All right. So just been looking good for a possible entry the short when we start losing that parabolic trend line that we have in here. Guys, anything else before we wrap the class up? Today is going to be a little bit of a shorter class, but I want to cover most of what you guys are looking at. And also, guys, if you're Plus members, do not miss today's class because today's we're going to be talking about DCA. This is a new, kind of like a DCA explained and how to compound losses versus wins, all right? So other than that, oh, CT, Mike, my pleasure, my friend. Really a pleasure. Before we wrap it up, any questions right now? Can be questions about anything, guys, about indicators, strategies, time frames, whatever you like. Remember, that's what we're here for, right? This is not solely chart pattern indicators. It is about trading, right? And we're interested in you guys to be profitable at trading. So any questions? I see you guys typing, so that's why I'm taking a little minute in here. With dynamic reactor on S, what does S mean, my friend? Can you clarify? 3 minutes seems to be good indicator for scalping. Do you agree? Dynamic reactor is always a good indicator for scalping for anything. Yeah, for taking trades. So I do agree, but not only that. I mean, and do not take it just like it. Let me explain for that. All right. And by the way, I use 104 hours and it still hits the same. Let me go to any other thing right here. Pepe, why not? Let me turn everything else off. Your dynamic reactor, as you can see, it is meant to show you areas of support and resistance. Not really. Let me rephrase that. It is meant to show you high volume zones, which can interpret it as support and resistance. All right, so that's why it's a dynamic reactor. So basically, at this candle, at this time and date, where is your big support? Sorry, where is your big volume area? It is right here. When you change your candle, the same thing is going to be taken, right? And when you keep going over and over and over, that's why you're going to have a high volume indicator like that. So to be able to go through high volume, you also need high both momentum and volume, all right? So high volume allocation, you need a high volume influx, if that makes sense, all right? So many orders being to be taken here, you have many orders to be placed, right? Or enough volume to take those orders, right? So how do you know that? Well, then it's just basic literature and math. But the way to actually look for actual breakouts and not fake outs, it is big body candles. So let me rephrase you a little bit in here. Let me change maybe the perspective. Your dynamic reactor, it's great to show you the trend, right? You mentioned it's great for scalping. It's also great for scalping. Why? Because when you bounce from it, when you hit it, you usually bounce from it, right? Perfect. When you hit it, you usually bounce from it. When you hit it, you usually bounce from it. When you hit it, you usually bounce from it, right? So yeah, I do agree with your statement, but also make sure that you'll see the power behind a trend. Why? Because the trend is your friend. As long as you're bearish, you keep pushing for shorts, right? Now that we're bullish, for example, now you switch and you keep going now, maybe scalping, but for longs, right? Instead of shorts, if that makes sense. So yeah, it is not, and I went over, what was it? Not the 3 minutes, the 4 hours, and not, what is it, Sonic, but Pepe, just to make sure that you see how that plays out differently, right? I mean, it plays out the same even if we are different assets. Let's go to another thing. I don't know. Let's go to, why not, Chili's on the 3 minutes, right? If I zoom out, I just give it a second. Again, look at that. Shows you the trend, right? And every single time you touch it, you push, you touch it, you push, you touch it, you push, right? There's gonna be zones where you don't actually touch it, but you get very close to it. So that's why you use the rest of your indicators. You use your, well, not right now, but you use your support and resistances, your order blocks, right? So on and so forth. Important when you, for example, right here, and I explained this on one of my classes, when you see constant breakthrough and breakthrough, you're in a range, all right? So what you do is not that you ignore your dynamic reactor, but you concentrate on inner structure. Inner structure, inner structure, inner structure, inner structure, inner structure, right? Inner structure, trend lines. Inner structure, you hit a higher high, right? You know you're bullish, you forget just a minute for inner structure, and then you long on the retracement, off you go until you lose again your inner structure, right? So just make sure that we know that. Not all of this just got prime basic, but trying to learn slowly. Absolutely, my friend. Been 2 weeks, so much to learn. We'll try to get some questions for the next. Absolutely, my friend. In fact, this is what we advise you. Try to use them. Watch the videos. Type your questions on digital. So open up a block of notes or whatever you like. Type your questions, and when you're in the classes, just copy and paste them. That way, you can paste faster questions, and I can go and have enough time to explain you all of those questions instead of you manually typing while also trying to hear my response, if that makes sense. But yeah, absolutely. By the way, if I can show you something else before we wrap things up, let's go and do another Discord here. All right. And I want you to notice that I'm going to go to Chart Prime to my left, and then again to my left panel, I'm going to see class recordings. Watch the class recordings if you have any, if you want to catch up. But most important, it is, what is it? Come on. Is it highlighted for me? Live education. Additional content. Here's additional content. Into additional content, important classes. Watch video number 1. It's outdated on the names. It works the same. Just watch it, all right? Watch this one, and then watch from here. Look at that. Chart Prime VPVR. That's an important class. Zero Knowledge Chart Prime strategy. How you can start making money without knowing anything about the indicators and using them without even know how to use them, all right? So that's an amazing one. This other one, what was it? Divergence in depth. So if you want to learn about divergences, here, this is a class, right? Pivots. You want to learn about pivots, this is the class, right? What is it? Layering system. This is my layering system. If you notice, I have, look at how many layers I have. And they're the same indicator, market oracle, right? And then market dynamics. But they all have a different thing in it. Like, for example, look at my Dynamics 1. It doesn't look like my Dynamics 2. My Dynamics 2 doesn't look like my Dynamics 3, and so on and so forth. And I explain the logic behind it, all right? Right here. And finally, and that's it, right? So I would say that important classes are the classes that you need to learn before becoming a master, or to get faster to become a master in Chart Prime, if that makes sense. All right, guys. So I think that's going to be it for me. I need to cut it short so I can render this episode and upload it as soon as possible. And guys, if you are Plus, see you back at Plus class today, Friday. And Friday, have a great weekend and use the stop loss, guys. If you feel like it's just not playing out this weekend, let it go. Go enjoy your weekend. The market is not going anywhere, right? It doesn't matter if tomorrow we get to $2,000, then you just write the short. That's it. Easy peasy, right? Easy peasy. That's what we're here for, to create money, not to create stress. All right. So other than that, guys, thank you so much for joining. And as always, see you guys tomorrow. Have an amazing weekend, guys.